Now, you got guys who are calling him out. That's a good thing. You got other prospects who are calling him out. Listen, you didn't want to fight him after Sylve. Hey, you watched me after Castiglione fight. Now we want to fight him. Guys, everybody speaks beef. You see guys calling each other out. Good, make the fight.
Fight fans, this is Boxing Scene's top stories only on ProBox TV, your boxing channel. I am George D. Metellus. Quick reminder to download the ProBox TV app where apps are available. And joining us here on Top Stories, we have our great world champions, Chris Algieri and Paulie Malignaggi, joining us here on Top Stories. All right, champs, what's the expression when opportunity knocks on your door, you better kick it open? Well, apply that to Canadian lightweight Lucas Bahdi after his highlight reel knockout of Jake Paul promoted fighter Ashton Sylve. That landed him a fight on the undercard of Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul, in which Bahdi beat Armando Casamonica by majority decision. And his recent performances earned him a multi-fight deal with Jake Paul's MVP company. All right, Paulie, what does this say about the chances that this sport can afford a fighter like Bahdi, and then how far can Bahdi go, although in lightweight, that is a really deep division?
Well, I'll tell you what, obviously to get a promoter and to have the platform to be seen, right? Bahdi had always been a pretty impressive prospect up in the Canadian region, up in the Niagara Falls and Toronto area. He's actually managed by good friends of mine, Dave Iskowitz and Phil LaGreco. And he had been pretty impressive. His power was always pretty astounding. Sometimes you look at guys' records and you're like, okay, the knockout power, is it really there, or is he just fighting weaker opposition? But, it's the way Bahdi was getting knockouts, even when he was less known, that was always kind of impressive. And, he's got that kind of style where he's just flawed enough, but he's got big power and can always kind of rescue himself. And you saw that in the Ashton Sylve fight. So it's the kind of guy that he's made to be exciting. He's a bit on the flat-footed side. He's got to work on some things, so he's a bit hittable. He can kind of fall behind against a slick boxer, like I said, like we saw in the Sylve fight. But then that power in the Sylve fight was really something, because it proved that even at a higher level, it still works, So that's when as a fighter's level of opposition raises, if he's still hurting guys the way he's hurting them at the lower levels. And, anybody who's seen the Sylve KO knows it's basically, if that doesn't win knockout of the year, I don't know what will, honestly. Like, I know there's been bigger fights, but that's a knockout of the year, bro. I mean, that was flat out starching. And so, against a good fighter, I had been pretty impressed with Sylve on the way up. But he was young. He was it may have been a little bit too much too soon to take on a guy like Bahdi, who, again, maybe was unproven, but his record showed you with the KOs there is something dangerous about him. You look at him in the Castiglione fight, he showed some flaws, against a durable, rugged guy like Castiglione. Bahdi's not able to get him out of there, and, you end up becoming a battle. He ends up having to win a majority decision. This guy's good for TV, man. I think that's why MVP signs him. Listen, is he guaranteed to be a world champion? Not sure. He's got to make some improvements, in my opinion. But he's must-see TV every time. You can get a KO of the year. You can get him being upset. You can get him bailing himself out from behind. And if he makes the improvements, you may see him actually be able to take on some of the even better contenders and beat them.
Yeah, lightweight is a very deep division, too, so he definitely has to improve on that. All right, Chris, what do you make of the chances that this sport can afford a guy like Lucas Bahdi?
Well, yeah, obviously, you get an opportunity, you knock it out of the park, or you knock them face flat the way that Bahdi did, you're going to get some more opportunities. But again, it's what you do with those opportunities. It's never just one opportunity. You got to get some momentum. You got to get the ball rolling. And Champ, just speaking about that KO of Sylve, what impressed me was his ability to pull the trigger. Yeah, he's got power. Sure, he's always had that. But listen, he was getting thoroughly outboxed in that fight. And then for him to stay in the pocket the way he did, and if you just watch the clip of the KO, you're looking at I looked at that. I was like, oh, Bahdi must have been killing him. The way he was able to keep that hand tight, bing, bing, throw those nice tight shots. For him to keep the wherewithal the way he was and keep his technique, even when he was behind to get that KO, I thought that was very impressive to be able to pull the trigger like that. And in terms of moving forward, like you said, Champ, he's just flawed enough. Because in that last fight on the undercard of Mike Tyson and Jake Paul, he didn't really show up. It wasn't the same kind of performance. Now, you got guys who are calling him out. That's a good thing. You got other prospects who are calling him out. Listen, you didn't want to fight him after Sylve. Hey, you watched me after Castiglione fight. Now we want to fight him. Guys, everybody speaks beef. You see guys calling each other out. Good, make the fight. And I think with MVP we can get that, and we have platforms for these fighters who are going to fight each other. I mean, this is what boxing's all about, baby. Call a guy out, and then you guys fight. I mean, I like where this is going. I like the platform that's being utilized by these young fighters. And guess what? We live in a social media age where we can have a guy watching a fight of another fighter and go, I want to fight this guy. And then that's how a fight can get made.
And it's funny because, you know, the Casablanca struggle can be a bit underrated because they're not known over here. I'm Italian. I'm from Italy. I mean, obviously I'm from the United States, but I've got hooks in Italy. The Casablanca clan, their family, they're rugged dudes, man. I mean, they're multi-generational boxers, and they all come rugged. And not just boxing. You don't want to run into them in an alley either. Like, they're rugged dudes. The Casablancas are rugged dudes. So it didn't surprise me that Casablanca could withstand the power of Bahdi and give it back, because the Casablanca family, like I said, they're multi-generational boxing families. They're a little bit like the gypsy fighters of England. As a matter of fact, the Casablancas might be gypsies. I'm not even sure, but they're rugged, dude. So like, you may underestimate Bahdi at your own risk, because the Casablancas, they don't play, dude. Like I said, I'm not just talking about it in the ring. You don't want to run into those guys outside either. They're in a bar or whatever.
Yeah. But this goes probably maybe to the growing strength of maybe MVP, that they're able to get Bahdi, and then now fighters are wanting to fight on their MVP promotions there. Is this a sign that maybe Jake Paul's MVP is moving up in the world a little bit in boxing with promotions?
Yeah. I think Jake, that's one of the praises I've had for Jake, regardless of the fact that he's, I think, regressing boxing-wise. He's got an understanding on the business. He's got his finger on the pulse with the business. He's finding talent. Obviously what he's done with Amanda Serrano has been amazing, and not only giving her the platform, but then she's been able to perform on this platform. And it's not just like we talk about. It's not just about winning and losing. It's performing. Serrano may have come up short against Taylor, but the performance keeps getting her high praise, and she wouldn't be able to have the high praise if she wasn't able to have been put on these platforms due to the connection with Jake. And so in that regard, Bahdi's another person like this, where he was falling through the cracks, wasn't really knowing a lot, and he was sort of plying his trade locally, trying to impress the right people. And he gets that call for that opportunity against Sylve, knocks it out of the park, like the champ said. And then from here, now we're talking about him, and we're seeing, now. And you know what? That's the thing about when you're known. When you're known, you get praise because people see you. But also when you're known, you're more under the glaring microscope. When there is criticism, more people have it for you, because now you're a more known entity. But it's better for people to know you and criticize you than for people to not know you at all and be asking, who is this guy? You never want that.
Yeah, Chris, what do you make of MVP promotions here and kind of starting to rise up the ranks here when it comes to promoting fights here, and the likes of Lucas Bahdi and, as Paulie mentioned, Serrano?
Well, I think they're doing it the right way, because listen, they weren't promoting Bahdi. They were promoting Sylve. Bahdi starches him, so now they promote Bahdi. They stepped over the body to get Bahdi. And that's the way kind of promoting always was. And it also, I think it puts the message out to fighters that should be willing to take chances. Like, all right, well, Bahdi was coming in as the opponent to Sylve because he was the highly touted MVP prospect, and now Bahdi leaves with a contract. So I think that's the way it's supposed to be. Boxing should be meritocracy. You get the win, especially a win you're not supposed to get, you should get rewarded. Bahdi got rewarded. He got rewarded with a contract. He got rewarded with being able to fight on the undercard of Mike Tyson, Jake Paul. Listen, Sylve wins that fight. We don't see Bahdi on that undercard. We see Sylve on that undercard. Yeah. Listen, this is boxing, man.
Sylve was very impressive in that fight.
He was impressive up until that point as well.
His momentum would have kept him going if he went that way. He would have flowed right into this
card.
How
many MVP cards was he on before that, Paul? You've seen him. Yeah. That's how you saw him.
That's how I'd seen him, exactly. And also Sylve is more so in the mold of Jake Paul, where even as a prospect, he had about 1 million followers on Instagram. Yep. Sylve is a bit of a YouTuber / boxer, but more so in the Ryan Garcia mold, actually, than he is in the Jake Paul mode, in that he had a longer amateur career, sustained amateur career, and had a lot of layers to his boxing and a lot of versatility to his boxing. So hence, the Bahdi knockout of Sylve is impressive on from multiple angles.
But also, we should look at this for fighters who might get opportunities to fight some YouTube guys. You can take over their fan base by actually using your skills. You don't have the skills that they have in terms of marketing in the social media aspect. But guess what? We're fighting in a ring. So if you can take advantage of that opportunity that you have in front of you, you can take onto their fan base, which Bahdi's been able to tap into quite a little bit.
I'll say this with Sylve, there's still a lot of upside with Sylve because of that fan base.
It's early.
As long as you haven't ruined them, because that's the thing about putting prospects in too early with big punchers or the wrong fight at too early. Sometimes they get ruined. So if Sylve is not ruined from that perspective, Sylve also has a lot of upside. Who knows? Maybe you see a rematch there. They're both signed with MVP.
Yeah, it should be fascinating. That would be an interesting rematch to see Bahdi and Sylve go at each other again under the MVP flag. We shall see what happens there. And of course, as that develops, we'll let you know here on Top Stories. Reminder to scan the QR code, like, subscribe, and leave your comments on our YouTube channel. Download the ProBox TV app, where apps are available to watch the next edition of our Contender Series. December 7th, we are back in Ireland. Should be a great fight card. You can watch it on YouTube and on the app as well. I'm George D. Metellus, and that does it for Boxing Scene's Top Stories.
ProBox TV Contender Series. On December 7th, look for an all-out Irish war as Dylan the Real Deal Moran battles Tyrone the Mighty Celt McKenna at the top of a stacked ProBox-worthy card.
For more ProBox TV, scan the QR code on the screen or go to the App Store and Google Play. ProBox TV, your boxing channel.